Hi everyone! In this video, we will learn the cosine function. Okay? So consider the function y equals cosine of x. So if you can recall, the cosine of an angle is the x coordinate on the terminal point on the unit circle. So we will look into, or we will use these values here on the unit circle, the x coordinate, since cosine of the angle is the x coordinate. So for us to graph this function, we will give values of x. So for convenience, we'll have these multiples of pi over 4. And then we only have values from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so if x is 0, what is y? What is cosine of 0? So the angle 0 is here, the terminal point is here, and the x coordinate is 1. So we have y equals 1. So when x is 0, y is 1, so it's the point here. When x is pi over 4, when the angle is pi over 4, what is the x coordinate in the unit circle of the terminal point? That is square root of 2 over 2. Okay, so that is about 0.7. So here, if x is pi over 4, y is around 0.7. When x is pi over 2, when the angle is pi over 2, it's 0. So 0, so pi over 2, 0 is the point here. And then when the angle is 3 pi over 4, that's negative 0.7. So it's here. And then when the angle is pi, that's negative 1. So negative 1 is here. And then when it's 5 pi over 4, that's negative 0.7 again. So negative 0.7, it's here. And then when it's 3 pi over 2, the x coordinate is 0. So 0, and then it's here. 7 pi over 4, so that's another 0.7 here. And then when it's 2 pi, we have 1. And then if you will give more values for x and then solve for y, you will have, you will repeat these values here. You will have again these values, so it will be another like that here. So if we will connect them, it will look like this one, okay? And then if you will add more values of x and then solve for y, it's going to be another like that here. Okay, so this is how the graph of the cosine function looks like. So since we have no restrictions for the angle, then we can have any real number for the domain. That's from negative infinity to infinity. Same with the sine function. And then for the range, it's also from negative 1 to positive 1 here. The minimum value is negative 1, maximum value is positive 1. For the period, if you look into this, okay, it's also a periodic function. It will repeat. And then one whole cycle completes after 2 pi units. That's from 0 to 2 pi, so that's one whole cycle. So the period is 2 pi, like the sine function. And the amplitude is the height of the graph. It's also 1. Okay, so how do you get the amplitude? It's just the absolute value of the number here. Same with sine. Okay, the behavior of the cosine and the sine functions are the same. So this is the cosine function where the one cycle is emphasized here from 0 to 2 pi. Of course, the graph extends to the right and also to the left. Okay. How about if we have y equals 3 cosine x? What will happen to the graph? It will just stretch vertically, like the sine function. If we have a number here greater than 1, that's a stretch vertically. And then if we have plus 4, like in the sine function, that's a shift of 4 units upward Okay, you look at this red graph here, y equals cosine x. So you shift or you move that 4 units upward, it's going to be here. So this is the graph of y equals cosine x plus 4. How about if we have negative 2 cosine 2x? A negative 2 will give this red graph here a vertical flip, and then the 2 will have a a vertical stretch, and this one is will give a horizontal shrink. So the graph will be like this. Okay? So times 2, so it will stretch vertically. Since it's negative, you have to flip it along the x-axis. And then the 2 here will make the period pi. So one complete cycle every pi units. From 0 to pi, that's one cycle. From pi to 2 pi, that's another. How about if you have this? Y equals cosine of x minus pi over 2 minus 5. Okay, so we will have a shift here, a horizontal shift of 5 pi over 2 units to the right, since it's minus, like with the sine function. And then a minus 5 here will give us a vertical shift. Okay, that's a movement of 5 units downward. So you look at this red graph, the y equals cosine x, you move that 5 units downward and pi over 2 units to the right. So it will be this one. Okay, so you move 5 units downward and then you move pi over 2 units to the right. So it will be like this. Okay, let's go to the domain, range, amplitude, and period of these given functions. Okay, so as what you can see here, all the changes that we can create are just in one slide, because if you will go back to the sine function, the shifts and the changes that are created by the numbers are just the same. Okay, for y equals 3 cosine x, the graph is the blue one here. Okay, the domain, actually for all of them, is the set of all real numbers. The range is lowest is negative 3, highest is 3. So that's from negative 3 to 3. Period, one complete cycle every 2 pi units. And the amplitude is the absolute value of 3, that is 3. For negative 2 cosine 2x, domain is negative infinity to infinity. The graph is this, the green one. So the range is from negative 2 to positive 2. And the period is 2 pi over b. b here is 2. So 2 pi over 2, that is pi. So it's really important that you watch the video on the sine function, because the detailed discussion is presented there for these functions. This one here in the cosine function, it's a bit fast, the discussion here, because you should have watched the sine function first before you go to this video. Okay, for the amplitude, that's the absolute value of the number here before the cosine. So that is positive 2. That's the height of the graph. And then for the cosine, x plus 4, all of them actually will have the same domain. For sine and cosine, no restriction for the x, no restriction for the angle. So the set of all real numbers is the domain. So for the range, where's the graph? Here's the graph. So the graph of cosine x shifted 4 units upward. The lowest is 3, the highest is 5. So the range is from 3 to 5. The period is not changed, it's still 2 pi. And the amplitude is the absolute value of the number here, no number, that means 1. So absolute value of 1 is 1. And then for the last one, still the same domain, the range, this is moved 5 units downward. So the maximum value is negative 4. The minimum is negative 6. So the range is from -6 to -4. Period is the same, 2 pi, because every 2 pi units, the cycle will repeat. And then the amplitude is still 1, absolute value of the number here. So no number, that's 1. Okay, so that's it for the cosine function. How fast? Okay, so after this, you will have a few items for the exercises as your practice so that you will master this topic. So good luck, and I hope that you have learned in this video.